Watch this video in its entirety if you're planning to solo travel. I want to start by saying that I go into a solo travel with a positive mindset. I'm never booking a solo trip, but in the back of my mind or out loud, because your words are powerful, saying, oh my God, this is going to be so horrible. I'm not going to have fun. It's going to be so scary. I'm going to get snatched. I'm going to get scammed. I don't know if I'm going to return home. Because being in that type of energy, you are likely to attract it. This video is simply to raise awareness and make you well informed prior to your adventures, not to steer you away from going. Hey boo, my name is Kira, and on this side of town, we talk about all things travel, budget traveling to be exact. So if that's something that you're into, why don't you consider subscribing? I promise you gonna get the tea. Come with me. In no particular order, honey, I'm gonna jump right on into this thing. Always travel with a power bank. I have multiples. I have this one, I have this one. Hell, I have a few others, as a matter of fact. I'm never leaving home without them. And I'm also traveling with extras because not long ago I traveled to Guatemala. One of the others that I have that's just like this one started malfunctioning, child. Okay, and I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous. Never want to be anywhere, even locally, without some type of way to communicate with someone if need be. This one I recommend more so because you're able to charge multiple times. At least I am with my device. And the higher the voltage or the higher the number, child. I ain't tech savvy now. Okay, but I do know the higher the number, the more charges you're able to get up out of it. So you definitely want to get you one of these. And this one here I use, normally I can get one full charge out of this. This one don't last as long, but it is great to have as a little backup. Normally when I'm on vacation, I don't typically like to log into personal information on people's Wi-Fi. I would recommend getting a VPN, but to each his own. And this is gonna lead me right on into saying, let's cut back, or try not to, as much as possible, charging your phones. You know those little stations that's at the airport? Child, not long ago on them TikTok streets, I learned a lot in regards to how people are setting up ways to access your banking information, all of your personal information, spreading malware, viruses, put monitoring apps and softwares on your devices, just by you plugging in your device with those stations. Yes, you know how some of them already have the cord, and then you plug it in. So if anything, have your own cord. Plus, them people be hogging up them stations anyway, child. I ain't got time to be tussling over no damn charger that can potentially steal my identity. Always arrive during the daytime. Personally, I've always done this with any of my trips, whether I'm traveling alone or traveling with someone, my significant other, family, friends. I just love to arrive as early as possible so that we can have an additional full day to the vacation shenanigans, if that makes any sense. So I'm normally booking my flights 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. so that I'm able to arrive about, 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and I'm in Florida, so that's how I'm able to get to some of these destinations pretty quickly, depending on where I'm going, but you get the gist. Not only that, there's just no reason, because since we're talking about traveling solo, that you, as a solo traveler, are potentially wanting to spread your wings or dip your pinky toe into the traveling solo pond, and why you should be arriving in the night. I personally want to be able to see the scenery, honey, hot landmarks, different things that I want to be able to recognize and remember. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna see that in the dark? I personally like to prearrange my transportation, honey. And I do this so that I'm able to obtain the driver's information, the license plate number, hell, the ID. I even recommend booking your transportation with those real popular transportation companies that you may find at the airport, the ones with the colorful shirts on, or the floral shirts, and it's about 10 or 15 of them in multiple vans, and they come maybe every so often. Even those are very reliable. I've booked with them quite a few times, especially when I'm traveling to the Caribbean. Find a reliable company, because that matters, with lots and lots of reviews. Just do your research, do your homework. Don't just go with the first thing smoking. When I went to my trip in Guatemala, I remember we communicated and set up all of our arrangements through Facebook. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little leery about that because I'm normally used to booking with a website where I get a receipt. The person who I was communicating with did provide me with all. Hell, they might as well have told me what color drawers the man was having on when he was coming to pick me up. That's how much information they provided me with. They sent me a picture of how he looked, his license plate, the picture of the car, the ID, like everything. I felt so comfortable knowing that I had Mr. Carlos' information. If he wanted to jump and felt a little froggy, he wasn't going to be able to leap too far. I do recall when I was in Peru, however, where the company sent me the driver's information, and when the driver arrived, they didn't send a picture or anything, but they sent like the vehicle color, the tag number, and all this information. And then when the driver arrived, I'm like, well, hold on. It was the name, but he didn't have the right car. The tag number was different. I was just like, okay, let me reach out to, such and such company so that I can figure this thing out, because what they showed me or what they told me is not what you showed up in, sir. So he started calling the company. I showed him. We were sharing information, and I didn't jump into that car, long story short, until things were squared away and I got it okay. Now, if you plan on taking a Uber or taxi, I recommend you taking the same precautions, especially as a taxi, child. If you're out there in them streets mingling, hell, you may need to take a few more. All the way down to, hey, maybe even taking a picture. Say, okay, I want to take this for the gram. Come on and get in the picture with me. And a lot of the times they love to be a little flirty, especially them little men. So they're going to jump in the picture without any regard that you are doing that for your safety. I would share it with a friend. I've seen a lot of people mention that you should pretend to do it to kind of make them, but I would actually dial out. That way, if anything happens, God forbid, they can pin the tower, the nearest tower on the last phone call. Girl, I watched too much First 48 to not know this. Okay, they will pin that tower, the closest one that you were near at a certain time. They will have the phone records and everything. So dial out for real. I'm not necessarily sure if out of the country this takes place, but I do know that I signed up recently on Uber where you can be able to select to your preference and getting a woman to pick you up. I don't know about you, sis, but I'm a little bit more comfortable with the females. Okay, I just feel like if I do need to fight for my life, baby, we tussling. With a man, it's gonna be a little bit more harder, a little bit more energy, a little bit more weight and things like that I would have to deal with. Now, there has been times where I still got a man if they weren't available, but I do love having that option, and they should have done this quite some time ago. As a matter of fact, when it comes to Ubering, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. I remember one time I was in an Uber, and this was nothing necessarily happened, but I just started feeling a little uncomfortable. And this is when you can start taking these precautions. Long story short, my friend and I, we did a shared Uber. She got dropped off before I did. I actually had to ride a distance to get to my location from where hers was, her drop-off point was. I just kept seeing the Uber driver looking at me in his rearview mirror, just kept looking, like making eye contact. And it just started weirding me out because it was no communication. Everything was quiet in the car. I'd rather not be quiet. Like, some people be like, oh, okay, when I get in this car, don't talk me to death. I don't want to talk. But personally, I love when people make me, it just feels more warm, inviting, welcoming when I get in the car and they're conversating. Maybe not necessarily getting all personal, but just keeping the conversation flowing or asking me if I want some type of music or what have you. He was just watching me. And I wanted to be like, so what the hell is you looking at? But I didn't want to, I wanted to make sure I get home. I didn't want to drop me off on the side of the road. But I was very uncomfortable. But let me tell you what I did. I got on the phone and I did FaceTime really fast. And another thing that he started doing towards the end of my ride was driving really, really slow. It's like he was prolonging the ride. It was so weird to me. And then I also started feeling like fluttered. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was just something it felt like something was coming over me. I got on that phone so fast and I was speaking so loudly. I put the phone on speaker and I let it ring, and then I let him hear that someone else was on the line. And I'm like, okay, I'm almost home. Is daddy there? Tell daddy to be outside waiting on me. I need him to help me with my bags. just to express that a male presence will be there, honey. You better get me home because he's going to be coming looking for me. Oh, I was also saying, oh, I'm right down the street. I'm actually right here on blah, 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 blah. I feel like that is what motivated him to do the right thing. Not saying that he was doing something that he wasn't supposed to do, because his reviews were pretty good, but he was just weirding me out. I don't know. So in that case, I'm saying all that to say, get on the phone with somebody, FaceTime them, talk, and say, yeah, my ETA is okay. Right now, girl, I'm passing right here by Starbucks. Yeah, you know the Starbucks right there on Oakland and blah 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 blah. Pretend. Honey, I pretend anytime, any day. Hell, you can do that if you don't want to conversate with the people. They get to talking and chatting it up too much. Oh, hold on. Sorry. So sorry. Got to take this call right quick and get on that call. Stay on. When you're solo traveling, never, ever, 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 ever take shortcuts. Never walk down an alley or away from crowds, like where there's hardly anybody that can see you in case something goes down. Like, always walk in front of buildings and just in the view. So if they need to go to this particular store and say, okay, we have the footage from your camera, or walk past houses where people have all these rings and cameras set up, they can be able to get footage from these people. If you're taking back alleys and things like that, normally people take those type of streets to avoid being seen. I even recommend walking towards the traffic versus having your back towards it, if that makes any sense, and if you can do that. That way there's no sneak attacks. You know what's coming towards you. A lot of the times when things are coming from behind, they can snatch your bag, snatch your purse out your hand. At least when you're expecting it, you kind of can be ready. Use tracking devices, child. I remember recently I seen on the news at my own airport down the street, child. FLL Airport is where I typically like to fly. Was it that or Miami Airport? I don't know, one of the two. But I remember seeing where someone, that's not funny, stole somebody's luggage. I'm going to say a luggage handler, right? I believe that's who it was. Stole somebody's luggage. Lo and behold, the girl had a Airtag in her luggage. That's how she was able to track where her luggage was. Had she not added a Airtag to her damn luggage, that luggage would have been long gone. And she would have never seen her items again. Hide it within your belongings. Don't just make it so obvious you open it up and then whoop, there it is. They can take it out, remove it, leave it at the airport. I don't know. They can do some things with it, get rid of it, crush it. So try to kind of like put it up under the panty shine, wrap it up with the jeans or whatever it is. Like, they would have to literally do some digging if they do happen to find it. Because I'm pretty sure if that man found that, he would have disposed of it. He would have never took her luggage to begin with. I personally recommend traveling with a device that makes lots of noise. So if you happen to pull it, I have a device that I even use at home that's on my keychain, and if I pull it, I'm talking about it will blare a loud noise that will allow animals howling, barking. People will be looking, breaking their neck. It's that damn loud. Anything to draw attention to yourself, you are going to want to have it on you, period. I remember seeing a TikTok video where it was like a safety. I love to watch like little safety videos. And in the safety video, I remember the guy mentioning, instead of screaming, help, help, you should scream fire. In the video, he mentioned that a lot of people tend to nowadays, or at least I took it as, when people hear help, they be just looking and they stand there and they're scared. And they be like, you know what I'm saying? They be like a little froze. Or they be ready to pull out the camera these days, child. They just want to record. They want to see how, they want to get some type of footage where they can get the highest likes and views and go viral on TikTok, right? Now, if they hear fire, though, they start feeling like, oh, I'm in danger also. That I could potentially burn. Okay, it may be nearer than farther. You know what I'm saying? It may be very close. They may be in the proximity of getting harmed as well. So people tend to kind of look and jump into action quicker. I don't know. I think it's just hearing the words. Help. To me, help, run, fire, all of that will get my damn attention and raise awareness for me. You ain't got to tell me twice. I'm the type of girl that if everybody goes to running, baby, I'm running too. And then asking them while we running, when we finally get to where we go in and catch my breath, I'm going to say, well, what we was running for? What happened? What happened? It's a black thing, I think. Always purchase items that could prevent theft from happening. Because one thing you don't want to happen is while you're on vacation, especially by your damn self, is getting something stolen. I remember when I went as my first solo trip to Cuba, the young lady, I mean, this is not theft, or maybe it was, but she lost her phone on the first day She was also a solo traveler. First day, lost her phone. She said she couldn't attend some of her excursions and all type of things. Like, I don't even know how she managed to even get home safely. I guess she printed off her boarding pass and logged in from online. I don't know, but nobody wants to go through that, long story short. So you want to make sure you buy products that can keep your belongings safe, close nearby you. Like, I will go down to buying a bag that has a lot of locks, anti-theft locks, where people can't nitpick and pocket pick, or whatever you call it, your belongings. Carry a personal safe. Yes, sis, don't even worry about putting your stuff in a safe, because personally I feel like if you lose your key card, right, and they can give you another one, what the hell you think they can do if you happen to forget your damn code on that safe box? You think they just throw the whole damn safe away? They have a default code on that safe. I don't care what nobody say. So I'd rather travel with my own, to be honest, or I just keep it on me. I personally like to travel with a fanny pack, a little book bag, a little personal backpack. I recently bought one, and all of these items that I mentioned, I'm going to make sure I have it in the description box just in case you do want to get your hands on it from Amazon. But a lot of these items I literally use myself when I'm traveling solo. I don't like the idea of carrying a big ass book bag. I know sometimes we got tons of stuff we want to travel with, but I like to be a little bit more free. I typically do the whole little crossbody ones that are kind of like lightweight, very good quality, because you do not want your damn bag tearing up on you. Imagine you win a backpack and you ATV ride and the thing just snap. Cheap. You don't want that. So you definitely want to do your research to be sure the item that you purchase holds up. And always keep it within reach on you. I never for the life of me be understanding how people will go and sit down at some shop or whatever, or sit down at the bus station, and then they'll sit their damn purse next to them. Why? Why? And if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. I'm not gonna help the potential thief take my You want to always keep it in reach, touching, holding, straps upon you, because if anybody grab it, baby, they grabbing me too. Okay, we all coming together. It literally can happen in seconds, so you never want to sit it behind you on the back, like sit back. This is something that I've learned to do because I had a friend that this happened to. A lot of the times I tend to learn from other people's mistakes, and that's separating your money. Don't ever keep all of your money in one location, if that makes any sense. So what I do is, let's say if I'm taking $200, I'll put 50 on me and a card, and then I'll have 50 in my luggage somewhere. Then I'll have another 100 maybe stored underneath whatever. Like, I have it all. So if anything happens, if it happens to be that someone snatches my purse, right, I'm not asked out and all of my money is gone. I don't have nothing on me. Can you imagine that? And then if you're somewhere like Cuba, who don't even accept American US credit cards, debit cards, things like that, oh my God, that's the worst. So you're going to always want to separate your money just so that you can have different little, little hideouts. Speaking of cash and cards, right? When you're using cards, and at any time, how people always be like, do you want your receipt? I always say yes, especially when I'm out of the country or out of town. I'm out of town, thugging with my rounds. A lot of the times I feel like people prey on tourists. I feel like sometimes when they know that you are alone, or they've been watching you, because I've gotten a lot of people to tell me, oh, I've been watching and I haven't seen you with anyone. Yeah, they be watching and things like that. They start feeling like, oh, well, she's by herself. Who she's going to tell, or, who's going to help her? The workers feel like as tourists, you're going to leave. You're not going to stay here for too long. So if they charge your car one amount and later go back and change it to something else, by the time you realize that you long gone, and now they done got away with $100 tip that they added to your car. So always keep your receipts. Hell, sometimes I typically even take a picture of the receipt because it can get wet, you can get misplaced, it can get lost. Or I use a card where I have the transactions every time it's swiped and used, it's sent to my phone. So there's my receipt right then and there. Always when you're booking a room, book it for two. I don't give a damn if I'm by myself. Now, there are some people that I speak with who's also solo travelers. They be like, I want a big bed to myself, which you can also be traveling with two people. If you get one bed, you can have a couple. It's going to be a couple. Unless there's a fee difference, I like to personally just say, yeah, there's two people to the room. When I'm in check-in, I'm letting them know, like, can you write down my number? my room number, please don't say it out loud. You know, and if they do and people are around, can you change the room? Yeah. I'm asking for both key cards. Yes, I'll take both key cards. The other person will be joining me later. They don't know. Another thing that I do is take pictures of the room immediately, like walking in, going into the room, taking pictures, Airbnb, no matter where you go. Because I feel like this, I use this as my proof to make sure how the room was when I arrived, the damages and things like that. If anything happened, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. I also go even further to like leave things around a certain way. What I do is put the do not disturb on my door throughout the entire stay, depending on how long it is. I'll, let them come in when I'm there to kind of like clean up that they need to, or dump something, bring towels and things. But you don't need to go in my room while I'm not there. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So I would leave it on the door, and just to make sure, because of course, remember, they have access. I would leave something, a paper, a feather, a napkin, a tip, I don't know, whatever it is that I want to leave around to ensure that nobody was there. Because if that's moved, if it's, stepped on, if it's whatever, I can know that someone was in my room. I use it as an indicator. I also even travel with a hidden camera, child. Travel with your ring. Travel with a hidden camera. They have ones that look like chargers. They have ones that be like pens that you can just sit on the table. There's so many different ones they have on the market. Honey, travel with you one. Set it up in that room somewhere. Don't just have it out in the opening again, but set it up. Set it up. And make sure that nobody's in your belongings. I even have these things that I use for the door. That way, when the door is open, there's a sound alarm going off, or they can't even open it with this particular device that I used on the door. Anything to allow me to have a peace of mind, if that makes any sense. And most importantly, if you decide to go out, I typically, as a solo traveler, do not go out past when nightfall. I make sure I do all of my sliding throughout the daytime. I even eat beforehand, and sometimes I would even take extra food back to the room in case I get hungry later, if you're a midnight snack eater like myself. That way I'm never going out. And if I would find out their ordering services, because some of those countries and places do have ordering service like DoorDash and so forth. I will find out about their ordering services and have them deliver it, but I will never open up the door. I instruct, please leave it at the door. Don't ever, ever, ever open up a door for anybody. I don't give a damn if you did order something. No, ma'am. They're knocking at the door, I wouldn't even answer. You know how many times I done played like nobody was home and was looking right at them? Try to do all of your exploring in the daytime. There's no need for you to be out and about at night unless you're out with friends. Now, it has been times that I went on an excursion and I came back later and it had already gotten dark. And I was a little nervous then to get back home. But I do not just be like, yeah, you know what? It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to go out. Now, I ain't gonna lie. In Cuba, I met some young ladies who was also solo travelers from one of the excursions that we had did earlier that day, and they said that they were going out. Please use your discernment. They asked me if I wanted to go, but we had literally spent the entire day together. They seemed cool. We all split off and went and took baths, and then we had contact information through WhatsApp, and we kind of linked back up, and we chipped in a taxi together to get to the point. And I really had a great time. Now, if you do happen to go out, whenever time you go out, honey, and you feel like you're being followed, every time you make a left turn, sir is making a left turn. Every time you make a right turn, miss is making a right turn as well. I would definitely slide on in a building like a store, a restaurant. I don't know, where there is people around. So if anything happens, we will hope that with a whole lot of eyes around, they'll just keep going about their business. Hell, you can even go as far as letting the people know, sit down at the table with them, pretend like you know them, and be like, oh, you know what, somebody was following me, and I would really, if you would kindly pretend to, I know you're still going up to a stranger, but the odds are that they, as a group, are less harmful than the person that's following your ass all around town. I've been to locations where I would sit up at the bar and the bartender would see that I was there alone. Whether they know if I was literally there alone, like in the country or the state, I don't know. We didn't have that conversation because it ain't nobody damn business. But what they did know was that I was not in that building with someone. So they would kind of keep an eye out on me. I've had people to see things happen and they come over and say, hey, is everything okay? Like, I love that. And I will definitely do that for someone else as well. Like if I see someone alone and then it seems like it's something, I'll say, hey girl, what you doing here? Pretending. And sometimes you don't even have to say nothing. They just automatically start babysitting is like what I like to call it. There are so many other ways that you can be able to stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. If you know any of solo travel hacks, tips and tricks and things like that, please drop them down in the comments down below, because people run, trip and fall to the comment section. That will, I hope, help a young lady who is actually wanting to book a trip but a little scared and afraid. As a matter of fact, leave some kind words to get them motivated into solo traveling, or leave your experience as a solo traveler. How has it been for you so far? Like, we want to get people out here and having a great time and living their lives and not waiting on people. That is the goal. That's why I'm all for solo traveling. If you made it to the end of this video, be sure to drop this emoji down in the comments. That's how I know it's real. Make sure you're thumbs up this video so this video can find its people, or that the algorithm can find the people. That's going to let YouTube know that this video needs to be in the YouTube streets for everybody to see. I want to thank you so very much for taking the time out to watch this video. I hope you received some tea, some type of knowledge that you did not know prior to clicking on this video. I want to thank you so very much for taking the time out to watch my video. Until next time, later.